Jess.
And I'm Liz.
And we're here for our first official episode of Coffees and Careers. This week we're going to be talking about how to make your LinkedIn aesthetically professional and how to look like it's professionally set up for when those interviews come around and your hiring manager is looking at your LinkedIn page. To start off, we're just going to look at our own personal LinkedIn accounts and start from the top down, starting with our header. And Liz, what's your header?
So currently my header is a logo for Bridge Logistics talking about how we are hiring. So it has a QR code on it and our website as well so that people know exactly who I am, what I'm looking for, which is we're looking for people to join our team since I am a recruiter. And you can also see underneath my name as well that I've listed my title as a recruitment specialist. So a professional photo as my header to show people exactly what I'm looking for with my page.
And mine's a picture of beautiful Cincinnati because that's where I'm at, and I'm looking to stay in the area. So try to, stay where you're at if you want to be there or going to where you want to be in the future, whether it's your school campus or sports you're involved with or where you want to end up, after graduation or for this next opportunity. And for your personal picture, I have a nice headshot that someone here at Bridge took for me of me smiling outside of our buildings, though it doesn't look like that. I think it looks a lot nicer than the outside of our buildings do.
Yes, and I also have a professional headshot that we had taken, here at work. We highly recommend that you get some sort of headshot. It doesn't have to be taken professionally, but just, have a friend or somebody just take a picture of just you, up against a blank wall or something like that. Focus really just on your face so that, people can just see who you are. Make sure that it's just you in the picture, not you and somebody else, or try not to obviously crop somebody else out of a photo or something like that. Just make sure that it looks professional so that we know who you are. That's all.
Doesn't have to be devoid of emotion or just, you're not a DMV photo, but just something nice that we can see your face and know who you are. And you can know who we are. And as for your name goes, I always recommend putting your name on there as whatever's on your resume. So if you want to go by, your full name, mine's on there is Jessica McGill, though I go by Jess typically. And that's what's on my resume as well. And then my full title and where I'm working at currently, which, it might be for you something a little bit different, looking for upcoming internships for the spring semester, student at University of Cincinnati or Ohio University or, Xavier, looking for something or whatever it may be. Just make sure that it accurately describes kind of who you are and where you're at right now.
Absolutely, and I want to touch on that location piece. So as recruiters, it's really important to us as we're looking over profiles to know where people are. So I want to reach out to people who are in my area. So if you are, looking for a job in a different city than you're located in, put that city on there. That way it makes it easier for people who want to reach out to you, and it just helps, whoever's looking at your page know maybe not necessarily where you're currently located, but where you're looking at next. So that's really important to have that on there just so that everybody knows, where you're going, and that can, hopefully introduce a couple other job opportunities as well for other recruiters looking at your page.
And then I think you scroll down just a little bit and you get to your About page or your About section. And this should be just a little blurb talking about who you are and what you're looking for, what you're doing. You're in school working towards a bachelor in whatever, hoping to further that with a intern or internship or current experience that you're doing or different things like that where you're volunteering, basically summarizing all of your activity on your page to give that look into the future for people that might be looking at your page.
Just a couple brief sentences, who you are, maybe where you're located or where you're relocating to. If you're a student, when your graduation year is, what you're majoring in, just very brief, just so that somebody can get that kind of snapshot about you as they look over your page.
Yeah, they should definitely know what you have going on
Yes.
after reading that.
Yes, so keep that up to date. If you relocate or change jobs or something like that, make sure that you're updating that section. That way it's relevant, for anybody who's looking over your page.
Yeah, you scroll down a little bit more past that activity section, which should be very active on LinkedIn. You should always have a couple of things there. And then you get to your experience. And, it doesn't matter what your experience is at this point. It could be nothing.
Right.
But make sure that what you do have there has the picture for the place that you're working at, attached to it so it goes to an actual page. Make sure the dates are accurate. And try to give a couple of brief sentences or bullet points, if that's easier, about what you accomplished during that time there. Similar to a resume, but not as detail focused
Right.
with those numbers like they say to use on a resume.
Absolutely. Just, a few brief things here or there just so we can see, hey, here's what you did during your time at this place. And if you don't have a lot of experience yet, that's okay. Just keep, as long as your page is updated and things like that, hopefully you'll be able to add some, but make sure that what you do have there looks very professional and put together so that people looking over it see what you're able to do at each place.
And definitely include every work experience that you ever had. Even that, summer that you spent working as a lifeguard, put that on there. Because you never know what's going to, be a touch point with someone.
Absolutely.
Maybe that recruiter that you're interviewing with was also a lifeguard at the same pool. Like, what are the chances? But you wouldn't have known that if you hadn't put it on your LinkedIn page.
I think that's a great point because that's something that's slightly different than a resume, which is something that we'll touch on in a later episode. But a resume, you want to focus on your most recent experience. But for LinkedIn, you can go all the way back. And
Yeah.
this is where you can create those connections a lot easier, just like Jess said. And I think that that's such a great point to keep in mind of don't be afraid to go 10 years back for a small summer job that you had or anything like that because you never know what kind of connection that can create with somebody else.
And then I think that next section is education. If you scroll down, and from there, education is the most, I think, straightforward step. Put where you're going to school, what you're studying, when graduation should be coming up, and make sure all those dates are up to date as well.
Yep, absolutely.
And after that, we're at volunteering. And again, just like with that experience, you want to make sure that that is up to date, has a brief summary of what you did with where you were volunteering at, the picture, for the organization that you volunteered with, and, all that same good stuff.
Absolutely.
After that, we're at our skills, and you should be chock full of skills.
Yes.
These are what recruiters use when they're searching on LinkedIn to find, someone that could be a fit for their position. It's all the skills.
Absolutely.
So I would recommend having upwards of 20.
Oh, at least. Fill it up. Don't be afraid to list something that you might view as a small skill or just a small little detail about you. If you feel like you've got that down as a skill, add it. It's better to have that and to have that kind of well-rounded section than to not have anything or to only have a couple things.
Definitely. And then from there, I think we're just at our interests, which, I think it's always a good idea for this section because it's companies, groups, and schools to, for the schools page, be following the schools that you attended or hope to attend if you're applying for a graduate program or things like that. For groups, very similar, if you're a part of a group or you hope to be a part of a group or things like that, that's a great place to put that in there. And the same with companies, a little bit different than Instagram where you're not just following companies that you want the product of or you like their content. Of course, follow those as well, but drop a follow to companies that you might want to be employed by, moving forward. It really goes to show that you're interested moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, just take that time to scope out some of those different companies that you might be looking into, or, if you're a student right now and you know the industry that you want to go into, look up some of those companies in the area that you hope to work in the future and start following those pages, and it just gives you the opportunity to hopefully see some of their maybe job openings or internship openings, and it just helps you to broaden your network, which is what's very important.
Yeah, and interacting with those pages as well gets your name in front of those people that you could be interviewing with or could be working with down the line. And then, it's not a fresh face, but a name that they kind of recognize from LinkedIn, which is always helpful. And I think with that, that's an entire LinkedIn page. There's a lot more intricacies that go into it, and of course it's all subjective. If there's something that you want to make sure that you include in there, like a resume or a certification that you've earned, attach those in that section. It's always good to have as much information on there as possible, so then whoever's looking at it gets to see on paper at least who you are.
Absolutely, yeah, that full, well-rounded picture of who you are, everything that you've done in the past and what you're hoping to do in the future.
And we'll be back in about a month going over what content to include in your LinkedIn. What is vital to include in your experience page? How should you be formatting those paragraphs? What exactly goes into your about page? And we're excited to talk about that in a month.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this episode, and we will see you again soon.